women come with their own set of complex concerns around sex, sexuality, bodies as well. I think we all do. You know, we've all grown up in one society or another, and many of us didn't get a very expansive or even educated approach in our upbringing around body and eroticism. You know, I know for me, so I'm 47. For me, like growing up I was like in high school in the 90s, and my quote unquote sex education was like, if you have sex, you're going to die. You're going to die of AIDS. It was like such a stressful quote unquote education. And this is something totally different. So yeah, of course, women come through our virtual doors or curtains with their own shame, with their own trauma, with abuse, either of their own bodies or, through someone else, with their own concerns about relating to others, etc. It's present in so many of us. And yet I do see a glimmer of other possibilities and other ways of cultivating a more relaxed state of allowance with our own bodies, our own eroticism, our own erotic expression, whether it's with ourselves or other beings. I really truly believe that there's something else possible. And that's what I'm sort of expressing, promoting, wishing was more available to more people. Women talk about shame, definitely. Women talk about judgment of their bodies. I think of myself as too fat, or, I didn't even ever look at my vulva. That's another thing. Like, we have so many different names for genitals, and the vulva is the front-facing portion of a woman, and often it's just mischaracterized as vagina, which is the canal. And so many women were not taught to take a look. So they didn't even see what's going on. And in caress, as I mentioned earlier, there's an opportunity to look and to look without judgment, if possible, and to look and explore. I mean, I've had people in caress, we typically have a hand mirror at the beginning of the practice, take a look. I mentioned without judgment, conclusion, computation, etc. Some women look throughout the practice just as a way of exploring their own bodies and their own awareness. Again, that could seem sort of confronting or shocking, and yet it's just our own body's expression. It's totally natural and can be very beautiful and very informative. I feel like a little like I'm being a broken record, am I? Because I keep kind of saying the same things, but they're not things we might be used to hearing.
Yeah, certainly. And a universal theme that if I'm a bit of a broken record now is that where attention goes, energy flows. And when we not only never look at something or check on something, well, how can we ever, ensure that it's in a healthy state or form a healthy relationship with it and with, that part of ourselves? And it's simultaneously funny, but also sad how many people don't even understand the right name of it's such a common thing.
I've heard so many different names.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's a good point of the dancing around of sexuality and getting to the point of anatomy. the common thing that's done, especially for children, is to just use these euphemistic words. But even in doing so, that creates a disconnection right there
Yeah, it's
from
not very
anatomy.
precise, right?
What's that?
Not very precise.
Yeah, exactly. And every, like culture or area has their like own little or family has their own little like euphemism that they, put towards the genitals of men and women. And
Yeah,
both of those, like, they just serve as points of confusion. They don't really help anything. And then it plants just weird mental seeds of, ooh, like this is something we can't talk about, shouldn't talk about this and that. And yeah, we don't want kids just running around talking about their genitals all the time, but there's no reason to not teach healthy comprehension of, yes, that is what this is called.
correct. Yeah, it's pretty basic and fundamental. And yet, like you mentioned, another area that we tend to avoid, or that people who are supposed to be educating us may avoid. Um, and yeah, what is that? And what I know I'm saying it over and over, but what else is possible? Like, what if we clearly identified our body parts? We looked at them. We didn't overreact when something goes awry. When our body's giving us information. Oh, thank you, body. Let me check that out. Um, it's a different way of being in the world and with the body. I did this whole riff once on dis-ease and how so much of us have dis-ease, disease, and like it can lead to actual physical problems. And what if we just moved into the ease and we didn't judge our bodies to the extreme degree that we judge and misidentify our bodies?
Yeah. And, we've mentioned, of course, and it's no secret that the sexual education that children receive in public education or otherwise is more or less abysmal and damaging and harmful, whether, it was in the 90s or the 2000s, and God help what's going on now. If you enjoyed this clip, you'll love the full episode I did with Sara Jane, where we dive a whole lot deeper into sexual health and wellness and the importance of connecting with our healing, sacred sexual energy. It's a great conversation, so click the link in the description to check it out.